Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're exploring the metaverse, but not in the way you might expect.
Oh,
You sent us a transcript from a
okay.
Russian YouTube video.
Interesting.
Yeah, a hypnosis session about the metaverse.
It's definitely a unique perspective, almost mystical.
Okay.
We'll break down the key ideas and see how they connect or clash with current tech trends,
Yeah.
what it all could mean for you.
Okay, so the person under hypnosis describes the metaverse as this matrix-like digital web. But
Hmm.
they're not just talking about virtual spaces, right? They're
No.
suggesting it influences the real world
Yeah.
and even manipulates how we behave.
Hmm.
Isn't that a bit unsettling?
It is, and it challenges the usual Silicon Valley hype.
Yeah.
This vision makes you wonder, is the metaverse more than just putting on a VR headset? Is it already subtly shaping our world?
Right.
For example, they talk about the rapid evolution of personal devices like smartphones and suggest these are already influencing human behavior.
But couldn't you argue that smartphones have been connecting people more than ever before?
That's true. But the source also points out the potential for isolation as we rely more and more on these devices.
Okay.
It highlights how technology can be a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The transcript paints a vivid picture of a future where people primarily interact through digital projections,
Wow.
even in their own homes.
Okay.
Imagine a world where physical interaction is minimized and you're constantly surrounded by digital avatars.
Okay, now that's where I start to get a little creeped out.
Right.
It makes you wonder about the potential psychological effects of living in a world that's increasingly virtual.
Exactly. And the source also emphasizes the power of corporations in shaping the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about companies like Facebook, Meta, and Google controlling vast amounts of data
Right.
and potentially wielding a lot of influence over our lives.
That's a pretty common concern about the metaverse.
Yeah.
But the source takes it even further. It claims there was an actual meeting between these tech giants where they were essentially plotting to control and manipulate people's desires and behaviors through the metaverse.
Wow.
Do you think that's realistic or just a bit of a conspiracy theory?
Well, we can't confirm the accuracy of what the hypnotized subject is describing,
Sure.
but it does reflect a growing anxiety about the power these companies hold.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. They already collect vast amounts of data about our online activity, our preferences, our habits.
Right. And if the metaverse becomes the dominant platform for work, social interaction, even shopping, then that level of data collection could become even more pervasive.
Yeah.
It's like giving these corporations even more tools to potentially influence our choices.
And the source doesn't stop there.
Oh, no.
It paints a somewhat bleak picture of a future where physical interaction and real-world experiences are diminished.
Okay.
It describes virtual classrooms, closed storefronts, automated farms.
Wow.
Basically a world where the physical world becomes almost irrelevant.
That sounds incredibly isolating.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that kind of shift have massive economic and social implications?
Absolutely. If we move towards a primarily digital existence, what happens to the millions of jobs tied to the physical world?
Right.
How do we maintain a sense of community and shared space when everything is virtual?
And what about the environmental impact?
Oh, yeah.
All those servers powering the metaverse, are we just trading one set of environmental problems for another?
Those are important questions to consider.
Yeah.
And this brings us to another intriguing aspect of the source.
Okay.
The idea that the metaverse may not be one big, happy digital playground.
Oh.
They talk about the possibility of it being divided,
Okay.
maybe by age interests or even power dynamics.
So instead of breaking down barriers, the metaverse could actually reinforce existing inequalities.
That's the concern.
Okay.
It raises questions about who gets to design and control these virtual spaces.
Yeah.
And whether they'll be designed to promote inclusivity or further entrench existing power structures. Imagine a scenario where access to certain parts of the metaverse is restricted based on wealth, social status, or even political affiliation.
That's a pretty disturbing thought.
It is.
And then there's the truly bizarre claim that the creators of the metaverse could be harvesting human energy for their own purposes.
Oh, really?
It even suggests this energy could be used for physical manifestation or control.
Oh, wow.
The transcript mentions an eerie buzzing sound the subject hears when tapping into this energy.
That's,
Yeah, it's a little out there.
Now, that's where we really need to pause and apply critical thinking.
Okay.
While it's an intriguing idea, it does sound like something straight out of science fiction.
Yeah.
There's no scientific evidence to suggest that human energy can be harvested in that way,
Sure.
let alone used for physical manipulation.
Right.
However, it does tap into a deeper fear,
Okay.
the fear of technology becoming parasitic, exploiting us for its own gain,
Mm-hmm.
if we connect this to the bigger picture.
Hold that thought because I think that's a great place to wrap up part one of our deep dive.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the mundane to the downright bizarre.
Indeed. And in the next part, we'll delve into the potential real-world implications of this vision,
Oh, okay.
exploring how these ideas, however outlandish they may seem, could shape our understanding of the metaverse and its impact on our lives.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Last time we were talking about corporations potentially harvesting human energy in the metaverse.
Right.
While that's a bit out there,
Hmm.
what about more realistic concerns? Like, how would everyday life actually change if we all shifted to this digital realm?
The transcript has these almost snapshot-like visions of the future.
Okay.
For example, it describes businesses evolving away from brick-and-mortar stores toward online ordering and virtual storefronts.
So basically, the pandemic fast-forwarded online shopping to an extreme.
Exactly. But it goes beyond retail.
Oh.
They even talk about restaurants becoming mostly delivery and social gatherings happening through virtual projections rather than in person. It paints this picture where physically going somewhere, meeting face-to-face, becomes almost unnecessary.
But wouldn't that have a devastating impact on small businesses and local communities?
Yeah.
The social fabric of our cities is built around those interactions.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
The source makes us confront whether those concepts, community shared space, even have meaning in a metaverse where you can teleport anywhere instantly.
And what about work? The source mentions people working remotely through virtual interfaces,
Right.
but it's more intense than just Zoom, right?
It's like their consciousness is directly plugged into the work environment,
Oh, wow.
which raises questions about work-life balance.
Yeah.
If your mind is seamlessly integrated into a digital workspace, does work ever truly end?
Right. Right.
We're already seeing those lines blur with our current technology, but the metaverse could amplify it.
Okay, that makes me think of the education example.
Yeah.
Remember how they described kids learning with VR headsets,
Oh, wow.
exploring the human body, or walking among dinosaurs?
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But it also made me wonder about the downsides.
Okay.
The transcript mentions the risk of imagination and creativity being stifled.
Oh.
If everything is a pre-packaged, visually stunning VR experience, do we lose the ability to form our own mental images,
Right.
to think critically about what we're seeing?
That's an interesting point. We're so used to passive entertainment.
Mm.
Would the metaverse make us even more passive in how we learn and experience the world?
It's a question worth considering.
Yeah.
And remember, the source talked about the metaverse potentially being divided.
Right.
It wasn't clear if that was by design or just natural clustering people with shared interests.
Yeah.
But either way, it makes you think about equity and access.
Right. So is this technology going to bridge the digital divide or widen it?
Exactly. If certain groups are excluded, whether due to cost, lack of access, or even social manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
it could worsen existing inequalities.
Yeah.
It's like creating a digital caste system.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. One thing that really got to me was the subject describing the metaverse as a trap,
Oh.
symbolized by the infinity symbol.
Yeah.
That's such a chilling image.
It taps into a common fear about technology becoming too pervasive, too controlling,
Okay.
that will reach a point where opting out is no longer an option.
But isn't that a bit alarmist? We still have the power to choose how we use technology, right?
Of course.
But it's worth considering how those choices become more difficult when the technology is so integrated into our lives.
Right.
Imagine if our jobs, our social connections, even our basic necessities were dependent on the metaverse.
Okay. Yeah.
Unplugging wouldn't be a simple choice then, would it?
That's true. And then there's the energy harvesting thing.
Oh, right.
It's probably the most far out part of the transcript.
Yeah.
But that image of unseen entities feeding off our collective energy is hard to shake.
I think it plays on deeper fears about technology becoming parasitic.
Yeah.
While the source doesn't say who is behind this energy harvesting.
It does make you wonder who benefits from our constant online activity.
Yeah, good point. We've all heard those comparisons of social media users to products being sold to advertisers. Could the metaverse take that to another level?
It's possible. And remember, this is just one perspective filtered through the lens of hypnosis.
Yeah.
We need to be cautious about taking everything literally.
Right. So how do we make sense of all this?
Cool.
We've got these conflicting ideas, the metaverse offering incredible possibilities, but also the potential for isolation, manipulation, even the erosion of what makes us human.
It highlights that technology, like any tool, isn't inherently good or bad.
Okay.
The metaverse is what we make it.
Okay.
Our values, the safeguards we put in place, how we choose to use it, those will determine its impact.
But the source doesn't offer much in the way of solutions, right? It mostly focuses on the potential risks.
It's true. However, it does emphasize the importance of awareness,
Okay.
of understanding the forces at play and making conscious choices about our relationship with technology.
So not just blindly embracing the next shiny new gadget.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming our agency.
Okay.
We shouldn't be passive consumers of technology. We can be active participants in shaping the digital future.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice? What steps can we take to ensure the metaverse actually benefits us?
That's a great question and one we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about the metaverse, the good, the bad, the downright bizarre.
It's been a journey.
So after all that, is there any reason to be optimistic about the future? Or are we all doomed to become digital puppets controlled by corporations?
I wouldn't say doomed just yet.
Yeah.
Even this hypnotic vision, as out there as it is,
Yeah.
offers some glimmers of hope.
Okay.
Remember, the subject described people who were deeply immersed in the metaverse, but still retained a core sense of awareness.
Oh, yeah, they weren't all mindless zombies.
Right? The transcript highlights how some people, even when plugged into this digital world, could still maintain their individuality, their drive, their sense of purpose.
So it's not an automatic loss of humanity, more like a potential risk we need to be aware of.
Exactly. It suggests that our innate human qualities, creativity, compassion,
Yeah.
that desire for connection, might not be so easily extinguished,
Right.
even in a highly technologized future.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
But the source also emphasized that maintaining that balance takes conscious effort, right? It's not going to happen automatically.
Absolutely. It's like any skill we have to actively cultivate it. The transcript talks about the importance of real-world experiences, staying connected to nature, nurturing our creativity through activities that engage both our minds and bodies.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that technology, while powerful, shouldn't become the sole focus of our existence.
It's interesting because that almost sounds like a countercultural movement within the metaverse.
Yeah.
Like people pushing back against the total digital immersion.
It could be. And remember, the source also mentioned the potential for technology to be used for good.
Oh, right.
They described those eco-friendly farms run by AI and telemedicine, making healthcare more accessible.
Those are great examples. It reminds us that this isn't just about escaping the metaverse, but shaping it into something that actually benefits humanity.
Exactly. The key is approaching these developments with intention, ensuring they align with our values and contribute to a more just and sustainable future.
You know, one thing that stood out to me was how the source emphasizes human choice in shaping the metaverse.
Yeah.
It's not some predetermined fate, but rather a dynamic system we're actively creating.
It's empowering.
Yeah.
We're not just passive passengers on this digital journey. We can choose to steer it toward a future that benefits all of humanity.
Okay, so practically speaking, what can we do? As individuals, how do we ensure the metaverse evolves in a way that supports our well-being and preserves our humanity?
First and foremost, it comes down to awareness, recognizing the potential downsides of excessive technology use, and making conscious choices about how we engage with the digital world.
So setting boundaries, prioritizing real-world experiences, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Nurturing our creativity, fostering genuine human connection. These are all essential practices, whether we're talking about the metaverse or just navigating our current digital landscape.
It's about remembering that technology is a tool, not a master. We have the power to choose how we integrate it into our lives.
And it's up to each of us to ensure it enhances our human experience, not diminishes it.
That's a great takeaway. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the metaverse. It's a topic that's constantly evolving, and we encourage you to keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep shaping the digital future you want to see.